We have with us the founder and chairperson of the RPSG Group, Dr. Sanjiv Goenka, whose journey has been one marked with tremendous success in diversified milieus. An early-stage investor, he has ventured into retail, media, and sports. Dr. Goenka owns the IPL cricket team, Lucknow Super Giants, and the ISL football team, ATK Mohun Bagan. Always in rhythm with the times, he has moved from strength to strength in his long and strong entrepreneurial journey by staying relevant and responsive to the demands of the times. He is integral to the story of India's transformative history as we witness today. Dr. Goenka joins us live from Kolkata for a virtual session now. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Dr. Sanjiv Goenka, who will have a conversation with our senior editor, Shavan Sen, on growing legacies.
Thank you, Rini. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about 23 plus companies, 44,500 plus employees, 510,000 plus shareholders, and one of the India's oldest business houses. And as Rini was saying, the biggest struggle today for any legacy company has been to be relevant. And from the story of the RP Sanjiv Goenka Group, one would understand how diversification has kept this legacy group completely relevant in today's times. Dr. Sanjiv Goenka, thank you very much for joining us in the Republic Summit. And aptly said, time of transformation, who better could understand this? Because when we're talking about a group like yours, you've seen several ups and downs. And the bigger question is that a group like yours is extremely relevant, so much so that you are basically now competing with new age businesses. So I want to ask you, how has the journey been?
Well, first of all, let me just say that it's an honor to be here. Arnab is somebody I respect enormously, and it's a privilege always to be at Republic. And thank you for having me here. Now to get to your question, transformation is the only way to survive. And we at the RPSG Group have been reinventing ourselves, have been attempting to do things differently, to do things efficiently, to move away from government intervention intensive businesses, to get into new age businesses. And I think basically the path for us, the inspiration for us is our Prime Minister Modi. He has just put India at a different level, at a different scale. He has repositioned India. And that gives us the confidence that each of our companies, all our companies, can as well do the same.
Mr. Goenka, what I certainly feel that it's very at a challenging time where India plays a very important role. I think so the RP Sanjiv Goenka Group, as far as the BPO space is concerned, ladies and gentlemen, they now employ about 10,000. There are 10,000 employees of in the BPO space in United States and as well as United Kingdom. Hence, I want to ask you, Mr. Goenka, when you're traveling abroad, when you see India on the global map, and the kind of noise that is around with the way we are going ahead, we are surging ahead, what is it that you would like to tell other countries, especially when we are seeing that there is a domestic chorus that is building, that everything seems to be collapsing, and that's the narrative that the West has been trying to build?
Very simply and very emphatically, that India is here to stay. Prime Minister Modi makes sure that the world respects India, listens to India, and works with India. We have shown India as a country and Prime Minister Modi's government as a government has shown the world how to survive in difficult times. Not only survive, how to grow in difficult times and how to grow fairly and squarely. So the world better start looking at India with a different lens and giving India the respect and importance that it deserves.
In fact, Mr. Goenka, when it comes to your own group, perhaps it reflects changing India. And the reason why I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen, is because from a group, it's become a conglomerate. And just look at the last 10 years, the asset base of this company has grown from 7,000 to 52,000 crores. And that is simply astounding, I would say, on the count that this reflects the changing India. And the last 10 years, the way things have changed for your group and for the corporate India, because you've always said corporate India needs to put its best foot forward.
Well, I think corporate India definitely needs to put its best foot forward. We have a moment in our history which gives us the opportunity to grow without shackles, to grow with a sense of freedom, to look at the world markets as our own, to look at creating capacities across the world. And this is a unique opportunity. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And if we don't capitalize upon it at this moment, then we will regret it forever.
But Mr. Goenka, when it comes from a man who comes from a legacy business, what is it that you would actually tell the young entrepreneurs? Because what is essentially happening is that, for example, when you entered the FMCG market, everyone said that the margin is very thin, was it the right decision to make? And you've passed that phase. Your company has taken several such decisions which market analysts have seen raising their eyebrows. So what is it that you would like to tell those who are setting out? And perhaps today is the time when we see a lot of youngsters are coming out willing to take those bold decisions.
You know, I'm frankly quite used to it. Every time I take a new move or I make a new move, there is a bunch of analysts who say this is crap and he's going to fall. It happened when we started Spencer's. It happened when we went into FMCG. It happened when we went into sport. But fortunately, I think we're doing well in each of these sectors. And I think it's just about believing in your dream, believing in your vision, not getting distracted by the clutter and the cacophony of the noise around you, and just focusing on what you need to do, carry on doing it well. Results will be there.
Mr. Goenka, today when you talk about valuations, when you bought the IPL team, I think so almost every media channel was grilling you as far as the price is concerned, the price that was attached to it. Over a period of time, the kind of interest that other companies have shown on these very IPL teams, one would say that you had a very fair estimate at that point in time. So I want to focus a little bit on this massive valuation debate that is actually taking place today. And you have always said that what is the point of having a business where you are basically burning cash again and again and having that valuation? So where do you stand on that valuation debate in today's context?
Well, if you're talking about my IPL team, quite honestly, I keep getting calls from investors, Western investors who want to invest in our team. Not that we can sell or dilute even a little bit for up to 3 years. Neither do I intend doing it. But all I can say is that the valuations that are being offered are at significant premiums to the amount I invested.
You have diverse companies, so I think it would be very unfair to ask you which one of you is favorite, but I want to talk a little bit about what I have seen from my eyes when I was studying in the city of Calcutta, and the fact that the music world at that point in time was the iconic place in Park Street. Carvaan has been one of the biggest hits as far as Sarigama is concerned, and one of the strongest libraries that you've had. Very recently, you've started monetizing it, and as I understand, you believe in constantly innovating. So what is it that are we to expect now in terms of, at least in those very areas, which appears to be some of your personal favorites, if I'm not wrong?
How do you say that a child is more preferred over another child? So you may spend more time with one or less time with the other, but that doesn't make one more favorite than the other. Having said that, Carvaan was a shining example of Indian entrepreneurship, Indian innovation, and no one in the world has been able to replicate that product, and it's not that people haven't tried. A lot of companies have tried, and they haven't successfully broken into that technology. They've tried to reverse engineer, they've tried everything. And I think it's a shining example of what Indians and India is capable of. But even in the field of Carvaan, there's innovations all the time. And so we've had different versions of Carvaan. We've had a small Carvaan which you can actually take with you when you go for a walk or a jog. It's like a little phone. We've got a version which has karaoke, and you can connect with anyone in the world, anywhere in the world. And it helps in sort of bonding and building. And there is more in the offing. There's more which should be coming very soon. But I think it's not appropriate to talk about the new ones which we are launching around the third quarter of this year. But yes, those products look very, very promising.
But Mr. Goenka, when it comes to taking these kind of risks, the risk factor that is basically involved, we have come out of the pandemic, but at the same time, we've seen the kind of noise around our own economy. We say that we have a robust economy, but perhaps in the West, it is largely seen as, there's a doomsday that we are really staring at. That's the kind of narrative that we are constantly looking at. When you go abroad and you travel extensively, what is it that you are told these days, especially when you are looking at Indian companies giving jobs? For instance, in your case, you're doing the same in the United States of America, you're doing it in the United Kingdom. What is it that you face when you go now to other countries and when you say that it's our time?
Well, for starters, I think I'm treated with a lot more respect than before. And as an Indian, it makes me very proud that we are treated with due respect. And that is thanks to Prime Minister Modi and his administration. Secondly, I think Indians are viewed as fair employers, and people are happy to work for Indian companies. And that is also a testimony to India's growing narrative in the world. And thirdly, when I just go out, as an Indian, I get a lot more positivity, and people do believe, despite whatever certain sections of media may say, people do believe that India is where the future is.
Mr. Goenka, I was told just about when I was going through the way you conduct your business, I came across an anecdote that I'm told that whenever people come to your office these days, you basically serve them snacks and I ask them to basically identify, because you're bringing in that entire concept of guilt-free snacking. So you've tried various ways. Where does this entire idea basically come from? Why not basically start from office? Why not start it from the employees? Do you think that basically brings about a lot of change?
Well, quite honestly, guilt-free snacking did not exist in India. We didn't realize, quite honestly, that the journey would be so difficult. But today, guilt-free snacking has become a reality. And we're delighted to have pioneered this journey. Now other FMCG majors are following. And that's a testimony to the fact that this market has been created and is here to stay. But for me, what's even more important is guilt-free snacking is one part of the FMCG portfolio. It's about getting into other lines, and we've recently launched our personal care, which of course is paraben-free, low on chemicals, but they are products with a difference. They are aimed for the mass market, and they've been received very well. And what we intend doing very aggressively as we go forward is Ayurveda in an easy to consume form. It's my fundamental belief that if anything is complicated to consume, it's time consuming, you have to go through multiple processes, people will not consume it. So the idea is to make it simple, easy, and consumable. So for example, we've launched Chyawanprash gummies. We've launched Shitopaladi in tablet form. The age-old Kadha we've launched as infusions. And there are many, many more such products which we are doing, which are tested and tried, but in an easy to consume manner.
Since you make a mention of Ayurveda,
that is a huge opportunity.
Mr. Goenka, since you make a mention since you make a mention of Ayurveda, what I find it very interesting is that you've always advocated that any business, there should be a value creation that should take place. And do you believe that when Indian companies now are aiming at going big on the global market, we have an edge when we basically connect this with Indian intrinsic value creation ideas, and perhaps that's the way out?
Well, it's certainly one of the ways out, and it's a great way out. And Ayurveda is something that's been tested and tried successfully for centuries in India. It's just about how we take it to the world, how we communicate with the world, how we get the world to consume it, and how we communicate the efficacy of the treatments and the products that Ayurveda offers. So to my mind, it's about documenting success stories of Ayurveda, because natural is something that the world now wants to consume. And this is old age pharma in a new format, but completely natural. So there are no chemicals. And I think that is the wonderful thing about Ayurveda.
One final question that I want to take with you, Mr. Goenka, is that we're talking about time of transformation. And I think so we should also be a little bit of, open about the fact that there could be stumbling blocks that we are staring at. What is it that you feel that in that highway that we're getting on to, what is the stumbling block that we should really overcome now, especially when we see a lot of political voices in today's time, basically some trying to bring down, saying that, the economy is not in a good shape, despite, we being able to do much better looking around the global uncertainty?
Well, I think facts and statistics speak for themselves. We are the best performing economy in the whole world, and there's no denying that. So let anyone say anything, but you cannot deny that we are the #1 performing economy in the whole world. Having said that, I think opposing or opposition for the sake of opposition, opposition for the sake of politics, opposition to ideas and policies which you do just for the heck of opposing them, I think that is what I see as a potential stumbling block. And sometimes some parties do not see the national interest. They see their own narrow political interests. And I think it's time that we really look at the nation, we look at the wonderful work that the BJP government is doing, and we support them in every policy that is a national interest.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Sanjiv Goenka, for putting these things into perspective. And it's always a pleasure to have you on our summit when you've always spoken your mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Dr. Goenka, who joined us live today, and for Shavan for that inspiring discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, without doubt, the Republic has always stood for the forces first. And believe me, this is not just a motto, it is a strong belief. And no conversation about the time of transformation is complete without putting the focus on the Indian Army. We are pleased and privileged to have with us today the Chief of Army Staff, General Manoj Pandey. General Pandey is the first Engineer Corps officer to rise to the